Member for Bowman.
Yeah, thanks, Deputy Speaker. And I can sense the frustration for every MP who has constituents overseas, Australian citizens hoping to return. But I'm somewhat disappointed by the candour of this debate. We've focused on Australian citizens trying to get home. We've forgotten equally important inputs into the Australian economy, the 10,000 skilled visas every month, overseas residents who commit to supporting Australia's economy in the workforce in places where we can't provide Australians. Our economy has lost those arrivals as a result of COVID. And then finally, the entire international education sector. It's around 900,000 of those who come from overseas, because Australia is not just the food bowl, not just the provider of resources, but we are the educator of Southeast Asia, and all of these things are in suspended animation through COVID. But I want to inject a little bit of fact, because on July 6 the House needs to know that not one, not two, but all state premiers, in a concerted message, came to the National Cabinet and informed the Prime Minister that there would have to be caps. And this was because Tullamarine, with 27% of Australia's inbound traffic, was closed due to the second wave. And what did other state premiers do? Did they say, we will support a mate? We will increase the number of arrivals through our airports to do our part to support this great federation? No. Conversation was completely the opposite. And premiers of all backgrounds effectively mugged the economy because COVID was too important in their states, and they chose not to take a heavier load and support their Victorian friend, but to actually cap arrivals. Now, the merits of that will be discussed in history. What I'm saying today is that those incredible arrivals into Sydney of 4,000 a month through those darkest weeks was utterly commendable. Gladys Berejiklian is 10 out of 10 for that. But I've been extremely critical of Queensland and WA Labor premiers for taking barely 300, 500 people a week, which is barely a third full plane, into those states. Queensland, the great state with 2,000 hotels, using just 12 of them for quarantine. Queensland and WA walked away from the federation. Now those numbers are slowly coming up. And it's due to the cajoling, the pushing at National Cabinet by the Prime Minister. And for anyone on the other side who doesn't like the numbers and the caps, they can just easily pick up the phone to their pal Anna. She'll take your call. Pick up the phone to your mate Mark in WA. He'll take your call. And pick up the phone to Disaster Dan, responsible for the 800 deaths in Victoria's second wave, because he never figured out as a Premier how to say yes to the ADF assisting. The Commonwealth has assisted at every step for states to raise their caps, and it was Daniel Andrews who bravely fought off that assistance by shredding the correspondence, ignoring it, and then letting out that disease, and then it was let into other states directly from Victoria. Those deaths are not all there is. The Australian Bureau of Statistics will report when doctor-reported and those additional cases that go off to coroners reporting. We will find many more deaths that are not COVID directly related, but they are related to the quarantine and the shutdown. We need to raise these numbers, but you've never ever once heard the Prime Minister not say, please raise your state caps. You've never ever once heard a state Premier say, we'd like to raise our caps, but the Commonwealth stops us. And some of your Labor friends on the other side have been saying we need to set up some arrangement in the desert somewhere and make the Commonwealth responsible. You need to quarantine where there are staff to man it. And I noted that our friends on the other side didn't support Christmas Island. You didn't support Christmas Island opening it up. That would have been a bright idea, and another failed one. You've got state Labor premiers, Queensland and WA. I commend Northern Territory for taking those first steps to bring in not only citizens for other states, but international students. And you're happy to put Mike Gunner into that position, the Chief Minister, and let him cop COVID in quarantine while he helps other states and territories. South Australia trying to resuscitate the international student economy, doing the right thing as well. ACT bringing in 360 before Christmas, Tasmania 450, but Queensland and WA, gutless contributions to the federation. And these MPs on this side, they've got the direct phone numbers to the premiers of those states, but oh no courage to phone them to say raise those caps. They'll never do that because they'd rather natter away to their constituents they're doing all they can and try and blame a Prime Minister and a coalition government that has done everything they can to raise those caps. Deputy Speaker, as I finish, these caps could have been far higher. It's sad we had a second wave because the rest of this nation had this under control by April. and the price we pay is predominantly due to labour premiers.
I call the